There's another negative effect of scamming people. Sending fraudulent email and messages to innocent people can be very destructive sometimes. Some people are very sensitive, innocent and naive. This scammer had ruined the lives of innocent family in the process of trying to scam them by sending a fraudulent email to them. In September 2023, North Dakota became the locus of a lethal convergence involving digital advance fee fraud, domestic instability, and toxicological murder. Stephen Riley, a 51-year-old man, a resident of North Dakota, he became a double victim to someone who sent an email to him and also to his girlfriend Kenoyer, who used glycol poisoning, primarily utilized in chemical automotive antifreeze formulation on him. It was an unfortunate day for Stephen Riley, but he actually thought it was his lucky day, a day that would bring an end to all his financial struggle. He received an email from someone telling him that his distant relative, Martin Walter, had passed away in Switzerland, that he is the sole legal beneficiary of his estate worth $30 million. Unknown to Stephen, the email was sent by a scammer. I really wish Stephen Riley ignores that email from the very first day, because there's high possibility of him not having a deceased relative in Switzerland, because I'm very sure he probably knows all his family members. I think he should have called others' relatives to confirm the information if he was unsure, but he probably got carried away because of a huge amount of money involved. $30 million is enough to make a lot of people go crazy. So Stephen Riley didn't suspect anything. He believed the information completely. He believed the information was legitimate and decided to play along, not knowing that his life would be cut out in the process. Stephen became super excited about the information and was ready to do anything in his power to claim his legal benefit of $30 million, even without verifying the credibility of that information. Stephen was living together with his girlfriend, Kenoyer. He informed her about the good news, and they were all happy that God has finally answered their prayer, that they are going to become millionaires soon, and their years of financial struggle will be over. Aina was genuinely happy for her boyfriend Stephen Riley because of the money, but unknowingly to her that Stephen had a different plan of excluding her from that money. Driven by desire to secure a portion of these non-existing funds and Stephen's explicit declaration that he intended to end their relationship with Kenoyer once the fund was secured. Over the following months, Stephen Riley engaged in a continuous digital communication via email with the individual who presented himself as the estate primary legal executor located in Geneva, Switzerland. The structure of the communication mirrored to a classic international advance fee fraud, where perpetrators promised immense wealth contingents upon the victims completing administrative limestone and attending in-person verification sessions. As the scheduled date to finalize the transfer of the fortune approached in late August and early September 2023, domestic tension escalated significantly. Anticipating immediate financial independence, Stephen Riley openly disclosed to a mutual acquaintance about his intention to terminate his relationship with Kenoyer as soon as the funds were officially disbursed. At this point, I really don't know what Kenoyer had done to Stephen that made him want to end things with her. I guess Stephen was tolerating his girlfriend Anna and didn't want to see her in his imaginary paradise, because I don't understand why he would want to end his relationship with the woman that had been with him during his struggling times. He suddenly lost interest in her when he became financially secured. Or maybe he was just using her for the meantime, waiting for things to get better before he could finally dump her. With that $30 million, Stephen might have imagined himself enjoying a new life with another beautiful woman, probably in a new mansion with exotic cars, going on vacation in the Caribbean or Puerto Rico, probably on a private jet, living his big dream life as a newly crowned millionaire, not knowing that excluding Aina from that money will lead to his death. Stephen Riley and Kenoyer had experienced severe financial struggle throughout their relationship of 10 years, and they thought the $30 million inheritance funds would be a breakthrough for them, not knowing that it would rather ruin their life. Kenoyer systematically became fully aware of Stephen Riley's intention of ending things with her and abandoning their relationship of 10 years. She became furious and came up with a plan to kill Stephen and probably receive the money on his behalf. In September 3rd, 2023, Stephen Riley and Anna Kenoyer, with few of their friends, traveled to Minot International Airport to meet with Richard, the estate primary legal executor, who was scheduled to arrive from Switzerland by commercial flight to finalize the $30 million estate inheritance transfer funds. As they waited for the non-existing representative from Switzerland for several hours, during the waiting process at Minot International Airport, Anna Kenoyer provides Stephen a cup of iced tea she prepared from home. The beverage contained with glycol poisonous substance, an odorless toxic liquid with natural sweet taste that blend easily into sugary drink. As the hour progressed, Stephen Riley exhibited symptoms of severe toxic exposure, including cognitive disorientation, loss of coordination, and inability to walk without assistance. Despite this clear indication of life-threatening medical emergency, Kenoyer actively intervened to prevent passers-by and friends from calling 911. Instead of taking him to the hospital, she insisted that Riley was merely suffering from heat stroke accelerated by alcohol consumption, that it usually happened to him whenever he's stressed out or nervous about something, insisting that he should be taken home to get some rest and he would be fine. Personally, I think in her mind, she allegedly didn't want Riley to get any help, thinking when the representative they've been waiting for arrived from Switzerland, she could be the one to handle the paperwork on behalf of Riley since he appeared to be unwell. That's why she probably didn't want to take him to the hospital or even call 911. But sadly for them, the supposed Mr. Richard, the estate primary legal executor, failed to show up at the airport as expected, until they get tired of waiting and went home. When they got home, Riley's health became even worse because Kenoyer denied him every form of medical assistance. The following day, their friend who had accompanied them to the airport arrived at their home to check on Riley's welfare. But Kenoyer claimed that Stephen Riley had received treatment at the nearby local clinic. Their friend called the nearby medical center and emergency room to make inquiry about Riley's health, but to their surprise, there was no record of Riley at any facility. Later in the evening, their friend returned to their residence and seriously insisted on seeing Stephen Riley. They forcefully gained access to their home and found Stephen Riley laying down unresponsive. They contacted the emergency medical center and Riley was rushed to the hospital at Minot. Before being airlifted to a specialized care unit, Riley never regained consciousness and was pronounced dead on September 5, 2023. Following Stephen Riley's death, friends and family contacted the Minot Police Department to express concern of foul play. Multiple witnesses testified that Kenoyer had previously behaved strangely ever since Stephen became unwell, and she prevented them from taking him to the hospital, but rather brought him home without any medical attention. The police searched their residence and discovered a critical physical evidence. The investigator recovered a glass Light bottle and a plastic mug. Both test positive for toxic chemical substance consistent with ethylene glycol. The police also seized a Windex bottle filled with a bright green liquid, later confirmed to be a commercial automotive antifreeze. The state medical examiner confirmed the actual cause of death was acute ethylene glycol poisoning. Ethylene glycol metabolized in the liver into toxic compound, including glycolic acid, with severe metabolic acidosis and microvascular calcium with crystal deposition, leading to renal failure and brainstem damage. During police interrogation, Kenoyer offered several conflicting narratives. She initially suggested Riley had accidentally ingested the chemical by smoking a cigarette contaminated with antifreeze, but it was all lies, and nobody was buying that lies. She also attempted to shift suspicion onto the mutual friend who accompanied him to the airport to meet with Mr. Richard, the representative that was expected to arrive from Switzerland, who failed to show up. This fabrication collapsed when she was confronted with physical evidence. Kenoyer later admitted she had mixed antifreeze into Riley's tea on September 3rd. Detectives also established that while Riley was lying dead, Kenoyer had attempted to sell his personal belongings, including his truck. Her subsequent statement to law enforcement revealed a motive driven by financial optimism, combined with proven misunderstanding of domestic law during police interrogation. Kenoyer repeatedly insisted that, as Riley's common wife of 10 years, she has legal entitlement of 50% of the anticipated $30 million inheritance funds, which she claimed she intended to split with Riley's adult son, Ren Riley. Under North Dakota law, common law marriage is not legally recognized. When investigators informed Kenoyer that a decade of cohabiting with Riley's conveyed no legal right to Riley estate or financial assets, she exhibited intense distress and anger, recognizing that Riley's survival would lead to her total financial exclusion. Kenoyer resolved to killing him before he could even complete the transaction and end their relationship. Kenoyer was charged with Class AA felony murder, the most severe homicide charge under North Dakota law, carrying a maximum penalty of life imprisonment without a parole. Following the evaluation of the North Dakota State Hospital in Jamestown, in March 2024, Kenoyer was declared mentally competent to stand trial. On May 29, 2024, during pre-trial conference in North Dakota Court District, Kenoyer entered a formal charge of plea to guilty for Class AA felony murder, and she was sentenced to 50 years imprisonment. During the sentencing process, victim impact statements were delivered by Riley's sister, Stephanie Gonzalez, and his son, Ryan Riley. Gonzalez condemned Kenoyer's action, highlights her attempt to sell Riley's car while he was lying dead. Ryan Riley testified to the emotional impact of losing his father just as they had begun rebuilding their relationship. The homicide state of Stephen Riley's provide vulnerable insights into how online financial fraud can act as a catalyst for severe domestic violence. In this case, an international advance fee fraud operated as an indirect trigger for physical harm. The investigator later discovered that the email was sent by a scammer and there was no $30 million estate inheritance funds anywhere for Riley to claim. It was probably an attempt of swindling him off the little money he has, because that's what scammers do. But sadly, Stephen Riley died without even knowing the truth behind the whole $30 million inheritance fund. It was all fictional and not realistic, so we just have to be careful of the information we digest, especially from online source.